ACR is a software that calculates line of sight and VHF coverage zones for navigation, aeronautical communication surveillance, SSR, ILS, VOR, DME that support the services of air navigation, radio aids, as well as the radar surveillance systems. ACR software is an easy-to-use and provides the designer with a facility that will optimize the use of resources and expand continuously aeronautical coverage areas. ACR is composed of two modules, LOS and VHF, the which complement each other for the calculation of coverage zones of line of sight and VHF. In accordance with ICAO recommendations, ACR_LOS is the module that calculates line of sight coverage areas for communication, navigation and surveillance systems that support air navigation services, radio aids, as well as radar surveillance. Now we are going to run the ACR_LOS module. The coordinates that we will use is the one corresponding to a VHF station in Peru called SUAS and whose coverage is published in a report from the Peruvian Corporation of Airports and Commercial Aviation SA. Now, we are going to calculate the line of sight coverage area of the SUAS station, for which we need to know the coordinates of the SUAS station, the height of the antenna, the flight level, and maximum range. We will use the SRTM database with a resolution of 30 meters. After a few minutes of waiting, we get the response and proceed to save the coverage in a KMZ file. Now, we proceed to preview the line of sight coverage in Google Earth, then we continue with the calculation of the VHF coverage area of the SUAS station. ACR VHF is the module that calculates the coverage area for the ground air VHF aeronautical communications systems that support air navigation services, radio aids. The ACR VHF module is a module designed to estimate the coverage associated with air navigation in the 100 MHz to 30 GHz band. This module makes use of the recommendations of International Telecommunication Union. The ACR VHF module is applicable to air-ground, air-air, over smooth or uneven terrain as it uses Earth's topography. Now, we are going to run the ACR VHF module, for which we need the coordinates of the site, transmission power, antenna gain, polarization, etc. After a few minutes, the VHF coverage calculation ends and we proceed to save the result in KMZ format. Now, we visualize the VHF coverage in Google Earth, and we also visualize the line of sight coverage, to make the comparison between both coverages, and the result found in the report of the Civil Aviation Corporation of Peru. Then we see two blue zones. The smallest is the line of sight coverage zone, that depends on the topography, and the largest blue zone is the VHF coverage. This last VHF zone depends on the topography, and a series of data technical. Finally, I must mention that if someone is interested in my work, I sell software licenses of the ACR program, and I can customize or develop any other tool that the client needs. Thanks for your attention.